Redditors with incel friends or acquaintances, what is the actual problem that they just don't get? I've had a friend for many years. He basically wants a woman in her 30s, he's about 50, who is very religious, a virgin of course, never married, supermodel gorgeous, doesn't have cats, isn't Catholic, and doesn't smoke. At my wedding he drooled all over my thrice-divorced Jewish best friend, because she is gorgeous. Therefore my opinion is that he's just interested in the gorgeous part of that list, and the rest would fall by the wayside if he found someone attractive enough. Coming on way too awkwardly strong, insisting on hugging every girl he sees, non-stop Facebook messages and phone calls even to girls with boyfriends. If she's already dating someone, wasting your time, dude. He's good looking. If he would stop the borderline sexual harassment he'd be dating someone by now. He claims he hasn't always been incel, but for as long as I've known him he's never had a girlfriend or even a passing fling, and it's all because of his personality. Highly opinionated about pretty much everything, ultra fanboy for certain films, has a vast collection of toys and other memorabilia, dedicated an entire spare bedroom to the collection. On the surface he's a nice guy, but he goes from 0 to 60 fast with his terrible opinions. I was close with this guy in college who, though he probably wouldn't say it, is an incel. Total neckbeard, oh why aren't girls into me kind of thing. He was convinced it was because he was overweight and nerdy and that women were too shallow to see what a great guy he was. But here's the thing, fat people get laid all the time. If they are a fun, cool, kind, not nice person, then you shouldn't have a problem. The one thing he, and probably most incel, neckbeards, nice guys need to hear is a quote from the movie The Social Network. But you're going to go through life thinking that girls don't like you because you're a nerd. And I want you to know, from the bottom of my heart, that won't be true. It'll be because you're an asshole.
He doesn't put any effort into his appearance, and doesn't really ever talk to anyone other than me and his two other friends, all male. He's straight. He will occasionally talk about wanting a girlfriend, and we will try to set him up on dates, but then he chickens out. Edit. Guys, I know he has social anxiety. That doesn't mean he doesn't want to have sex. Don't you think a lot of people who are involuntarily celibate have some sort of social issues?
One is a straight-up creep. He openly talks about how much he's into lolicon. He wants a girl that looks like she's 12 and also likes all of the neck-beardy hobby stuff that he's into, like wargaming and Toho. He had a girl interested in him once before that he wrote off because she was too fat, she was barely chubby, and wants a 10 out of 10 while he himself looks like Gollum. One is an insufferable sad sack. He constantly self-deprecates with forever alone type stuff, bitches and moans about being a nice guy, gave himself a stupid nickname, Panda, and constantly uses it to refer to himself in the third person. The last is attractive, funny, sociable, intelligent, and stable. He's tried fix-ups and online dating, but nothing really works out compatibility-wise. He'll make a great catch for the right lady, he just hasn't had much luck yet. Bit of a different strain of incel. He's not opinionated or a sarcastic asshole or a contrarian. He's the opposite. He has no opinions, no personality, nothing. He's mild, flavorless, and bland. No passion, no drive. He's either the most boring guy in existence, or the most repressed guy in existence. Either way, that's not exactly going to bring in any girls. Yeah, he's a nice guy, but that's literally it. No one can say he's a fun guy. No one can say he's an interesting guy. No one can say he's a generous or charitable. He's literally just nice and inoffensive. And when the world is filled with nice and inoffensive guys who are also smart, funny, interesting, he's actually super thin and lanky. Weird mustache thing going on, not a full beard, and wears sunglasses all the time. You're not dating anyone because you will never ever find Beyonce booty, Pamela Anderson titties, Charlize Theron waist size, Anne Hathaway face, Taylor Swift popsicle legs, and Nicki Minaj sex drive in one woman. It's just never going to be a thing. If that person exists, then We're in a new age of Jurassic Park. You could, however, clean up a bit and go talk to normal girls who have nice jobs as an office receptionist and gets dental. Short version, unrealistic expectations. She must look like a supermodel post-airbrushing at all times, be a virgin, cook, clean, and generally being treated like a possession, while putting up with a dude that can't remember when he last showered, and isn't sure if the underoos he's wearing were clean when he put them on. That, and the guy has the personality of a wet cat. I mean seriously, a grown man that behaves like the mean girl from the latest Disney tween dramedy. It would be hilarious if he weren't so annoying, and well, offensive to the senses. Seriously, fuck nuts, take a fucking shower. With soap. At least once a day, wash clothes at least once a week. Signed, literally fucking everyone at work. P.S. Sarah isn't a stuck-up bitch. She just won't fuck you because she's got a functioning nose, and well, she's happily married with 2 kids, asswipe. My cousin doesn't understand that women like to take care of themselves, or I guess a lot of them do. He has only had one girlfriend and she was his first everything. She broke up with him and he hasn't been with anyone since. Her biggest complaint was that he was consistently needy and showering her with attention all the time. For example, he'd always want to hold hands and feed her and never let her do it herself. Now he complains that he's too dark and fat for any girl to love him. He's in his 30s. Also super elitist about his interest, horror films, and will say you're an idiot for saying Time's film wasn't as good, in your opinion, as he thought it was. God, he is so exhausting sometimes. My friend has extremely low self-esteem and never just goes for it with a girl. He's 25 and still a virgin who's never had a girlfriend in his life but is actually reasonably good looking and would look even better if he lost 30 pounds or so, and he's a good guy too. For some reason though, he just can't talk with a girl properly, i.e., flirt at the right times and basically just be yourself kinda thing. He does want a girlfriend badly too. Heck, he's even drunkenly cried about it to me on one occasion too, but his problem is he just hasn't got the balls to even attempt to chat up girls even when he's had a wingman introduce him. I think one day he'll get a girlfriend though. He's just gotta get out of his shell around women and be himself, go with the flow and simply be more relaxed. His most fundamental and pernicious belief is that access to sex will absolve him from any of life's hardships. His depression will instantaneously subside, his arrogance will be perceived as justified, and his indignation towards women will abate. He perceives his ineptitude with women as an extrinsic problem, and women are narcissistic creatures who derive gratification from his unrelenting humiliation. He's accumulating an increasing amount of weight by the day. His general disposition is morose at all times, and yet the cause of all this? Women and unattainable copulation. Sex is not an intrinsic human right, but for this incel, he's been deprived of his rights by deprecating roasties. That it's okay for other people to have opinions, fears, or their own way of doing things. Other people aren't them, but they don't get that. We were hanging out at a party. So, me, my wife, a bunch of friends, both men and women. One of the women was talking about how she drives to and from school because she is afraid of the walk late at night. I don't blame her. If I was a woman I wouldn't make that walk either. It isn't lighted and the neighborhood isn't great. This guy could not get why she doesn't walk, and rather than just chalking it up to, she isn't me so who gives a fuck, he just had to press the issue. You could carry pepper spray. Or a knife. It's not that far. Really, how likely is it that something is going to happen? This is why women want nothing to do with you. You, deep down, believe that they only exist in your world and not their own. They see everyone as below them, so they're super condescending and believe it's justified. In a way similar to how you have to talk to a kid in a certain way that's dumbed down, they feel they have to talk to everyone that way. Because they talk to people strategically, they are never genuine with people. Humans have insane intuition and can see right through that. It's really sad to see. Because someone can have such a sweet heart but have such a superiority complex and just can't get over it. The only reason they have friends is because it's tolerable to be friends with someone who Has a superiority complex. Being in a romantic relationship isn't tolerable though, since you end up relying on someone that believes they're higher than you. I grew up fairly social and always had a very tight-knit circle of friends. It was only when I was a teenager did I realize my parents weren't very social people. They liked hanging out with each other than with fellow parents and neighbors. My brother turned out like them, and had a tough time keeping friends because of his tendencies to push his strong opinions on most things. We were raised in a K-12 school, so he couldn't even get the chance to change his image and personality to new people. He retreated further and further into solidarity, doing most things either alone or only with family members like me. But when I graduated high school, my new friends in college never stuck. Maybe I kept comparing them to the childhood, lifelong friends that I was so fortunate to have, but on my darker days, I wonder if maybe I also took after my parents after all. I'd say the fundamental problem is they see a relationship as a reward for adhering to what they consider is a set of ideal behavior and principles, therefore being loved is deserved regardless of the feelings of their deserved partner. Basically they see INCEL as a thing. It's weird. He's not quite an incel or a nice guy, but his method is very nice guy-ish. He'll latch onto women, who, 90% of the time, have a boyfriend, be their really close friend and then just never say how he feels. Then, after a long enough time passes, gets frustrated that his friendship hasn't persuaded the girl into a relationship with him, just cuts off contact and goes into another cycle of extremely passive-aggressive depression. He does this because, I don't want to be mean to them and cut them off forever, but I hope that by not being around, I hope they'll want me again and reconsider their choices. I haven't spoken to him personally since we graduated college, but if his Facebook rants are any indication, he hasn't changed much the last 2 years. I dated a guy that wasn't full on incel, but the more time I spent with him, the less I could stand his BS. He was an odd combination of things that was initially intriguing and eventually grating. He wore ridiculously flashy clothing, or sweatpants. His car was covered in decals referencing WWE quotes. The only music in his car was old Sonic the Hedgehog soundtracks. At first I enjoyed how blunt he was. He knew exactly what he wanted and he only went for it if I wanted it, too. He had a very transactional way of viewing all relationships. He kept numerical tallies on benefits and annoyances of every single person he met. If they were in the red, he felt justified to absolutely crush their soul with acidic behavior. He took joy in that. I'm going to verbally destroy this guy with a dumb opinion. Me, what if I eventually have a dumb opinion? Doesn't matter. Had sex. What? Eventually I saw how much self-resentment he had. He never showed genuine kindness. He always wanted something in return. He complained women never liked him, but he treated them like a weird in-between of an object and a self-operated baby factory that wanted strange things. That was years ago. I think he moved and started getting better. Maybe. Hard to tell through the social media lens. The reason they can't get laid is that their standards are too high. That's it. My incel friends are looking for perfection without realizing that they are poor jobless assholes. You're not going to end up with a rich 22-year-old model heiress who buys you a Lambo and brings her friends over to group sex you. My incel friend. I can't get laid, this sucks. Me. That girl over there is totally into you. Incel friend. She's not my type. What the fuck, dude? Honestly, at this point, even though he claims it's not his fault, I'm sorry, you're celibate by choice, bro. Online, I see a lot of incels who are really misogynist haters. Those guys don't get laid because they're giant assholes and they'd rather blame every single woman on earth than accept that maybe, just the problem is them. Take a deep breath, step back, and try to give a shit about another human being for a change. It's not concern trolling when someone tells you to try listening to the girl for a change. It's just concern. You're some creepy motherfuckers right now and the only person who can do anything about that is you. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more. My goal is 500 subscribers so I can monetize my videos and start making that dollar bill.